So how do you do it? Which one is it? Just this? Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I want to thank first Imran and Al-Misbah for hosting us tonight, inshallah. And today's workshop is a khatib workshop. And before we begin, if we could really quickly just go through the room, and if you could mention your name, your age, and if you've given a speech before or a khutbah before. Okay? So let's start. Well, Imran, mashallah, you've done it. Go ahead.
Muad, I'm 17. I've been into a speech competition before, but not.
Okay, great.
My name is Abada, I'm 17. I've done speeches for schools.
Okay.
44.
Have you given any speeches, khutbahs? Okay. Mashallah. Okay. Hasib, so name, age, and if you've given a speech or khutbah before.
My name is Waseem, 17 years old, and I've given a khutbah at school a few times.
Okay.
My name is Mohammed, I'm 15 and I haven't been to
Nothing. Okay, inshallah.
My name is Suhaib, 18, and I've given a few khutbahs at school.
Okay.
My name is Kamal, I'm 17, and I did khutbah before.
Okay.
I'm Imam, I'm 14, and I gave a few khutbahs at school.
Okay.
My
Great.
name is Papa. I'm 26. I've given speeches below.
Okay. Mashallah.
So my name is Jaffa. I'm 21 years old. I was part of the speech and debate team at my school, and I was also the khatib for Jamaat prayers for 2 years in a row.
Okay. Mashallah. So you're a veteran. Mashallah. Go ahead.
So my name is Hassan, I'm 19. I took like a public speaking class in college. But never did a khutbah.
Was it virtual or on-site?
Virtual.
Okay.
Doesn't
Yeah. It doesn't cut it, but inshallah you'll get that experience. Inshallah. Go ahead.
My name is Mohammed. I'm 23. I did no speeches and no khutbahs.
No khutbahs, no speeches. Okay. Jazakallah khair. So first question to begin with, should we want to give khutbah?
Yes.
Should we want to give speeches? You think we should?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a good thing to do.
Okay, it's a good thing to do, but should we oh yeah, anyone disagree with him? Yeah, go ahead.
I think giving speeches is a talent. Some people have it, some people don't. If you don't have the talent to give a speech, to tell the story, then maybe you shouldn't be up there.
Okay.
Knowing the knowledge is a different thing, but don't force yourself if you can't do it.
Okay. That's a good point, but I think it's I think every single one of us can acquire that skill of giving a speech.
But it's not necessarily like you don't have to if you don't want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking that question is that we should kind of go back and think about our intention of why we're giving the speech. Right? Everything in Islam, innamal a'malu binniyat, that everything goes back to your intention, and that's kind of deciding factor of if it's accepted or not in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I would personally say that we shouldn't want to give a speech, right? We should shy away from it unless there's a reason we have to do it, okay? So for example, in our situation here in Elk Grove in Sacramento, there's a huge shortage, believe me, in khatibs and speakers. Okay, every week we're struggling to find speakers. In colleges and high schools, this is another thing. There's a shortage of speakers, and so we shouldn't want to give a speech. But if we're put in a situation where we need to, then we're ready for it. Okay, you understand where I'm coming from, inshallah? And why is it important for us as da'is, someone who gives da'wah, why is it important for us to know how to give a speech? Yeah.
Because if you don't know how, you can make them go away or not like what you're saying, even though what you're saying is correct.
Okay, so you might be saying what's correct, but because you're not doing it with hikmah, with wisdom, you might actually draw people away from you. Okay, from not even you, forget you, from Islam, right? So this is another very, very important factor, that we have to use hikmah, wisdom, when we're giving speeches. So it's not just about knowledge, but it's about how you spread that knowledge. So for example, okay, and I'm going to come to that. So our workshop today will cover about how to pick a topic or how to choose a topic, then how to prep for your speech, and then lastly, inshallah, how to, or deliver pretty much, and what are some things that you should kind of keep in mind. Okay, so first thing, using some hikmah. There is in another community I was in one time, one of the brothers, he was giving khutbah, and he was giving it about circumcision. Okay, he was giving a khutbah about circumcision, and it was really weird. Okay, it was very, very awkward, just to say the least. And he got done, and then everyone's like, wait, what just happened here, right? And so it was a very, very an odd thing. And so sometimes what happens is that someone might have some knowledge, but because they're not using their wisdom, they're going to cause themselves to have people run away from Islam. That's a very real possibility. Another thing, what's another reason why it's important for a da'i to know how to give speeches?
For any situation, they're ready for the situation.
So they're ready for a situation, maybe the khatib got sick, something happened, and so you're able to step up to the plate, give the khutbah inshallah, or a speech if you need to. Good. What else? Yeah.
Pass on knowledge to those who don't know.
Good. That's a job of a da'i, right? Someone who gives or calls other people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is giving da'wah. This is their job, where they invite others to Islam. And it could be where you're giving a khutbah in high school, some of you guys have been giving there, or in other places, and there's a non-Muslim friend who's sitting there. Okay? They listen to your speech, and they are motivated, they want to become Muslim after that. Okay? After listening to your speech. And so the rewards that are associated with giving speeches is just out of this world. Right? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Right? There is, who can be better than? Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking a rhetorical question. Who can be better than the one who invites others to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does righteous deeds themselves? Okay? They do righteous deeds themselves. They're not just inviting other people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and forgetting about themselves. And they say that we are amongst those people who submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are those who are Muslimin. We call ourselves Muslims. We don't get involved in all these different labels and these types of things, but we call people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we call ourselves Muslim. Okay? So, very good. Any other points of why it's important for a da'i? So the rewards, you might have to step up to the plate. What else? Any other things you can think of?
It's our job as Muslims.
It's a duty of ours, us as Muslims. Okay? كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. If we were wearing some type of name card, like an ID, it would be that we invite others to good and forbid people from evil. And we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And so this is another great reason. This is a job, it's a fard kifaya. Okay? Fard kifaya means that some Muslims have to be doing this job. Some Muslims have to be giving khutbahs, have to be teaching classes, and having some knowledge where they're sharing it with other people. Okay? Doesn't mean that every single person has to do it. However, some people should be, or it's a must. If nobody, please scoot up a little bit. If nobody is able or has the ability to give khutbah or give a speech about Islam, what happens? If it's fard kifaya and nobody's able to do it, what happens?
Everyone's a sinner.
Everyone's a sinner. And that's why it's so necessary that you guys, inshallah, as the next generation, know how to deliver a speech. Because us old guys, we're gonna die off soon, right? Allah knows best, right? We don't know how much time we have left on this earth. So there has to be someone coming to continue on. Otherwise, there's going to be a big void, and then nobody will be able to deliver the khutbah and so on. Okay? So very good points, mashallah. So adding to the rewards, I just want to give you an example. So this Khatib workshop, Sheikh Yasser Burjas, he taught me this. Okay, not me just, but there was a class. He was teaching us this information. Right, there was a private session on a Saturday, and he taught us, alhamdulillah, this class. He learned it from Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif. You guys know who he is?
That's Shaitan Bear, right?
The one who passed away recently. The one who passed away about 2 months ago? Not even 2 months ago. So the point I'm trying to make, this person who passed away now, who taught Sheikh Yasser Burjas and many of the other, al-Maghrib teachers and so on, who they taught other people on how to give khutbah, that knowledge is being spread, inshallah, and he is getting the reward for it. Okay? He is getting the reward for it in his grave. And so this is another important point, that, again, to continue on, that when you teach someone something about Islam, you might have been that person who saved someone from leaving Islam. Just imagine that and think about that. Someone in high school just came in randomly, maybe you're a friend of his or something, you invited him, he comes to the khutbah, he listens to your khutbah, and all of a sudden he's not maybe motivated, but maybe he was thinking about leaving Islam, and now he's going the other direction, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? So you could be that person who calls someone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and save them from the hellfire, which is a huge thing. Now, I mentioned like the choosing the topic. Okay? So you guys tell me, what are some things that we could do when or things to keep in mind when we're thinking about a topic? What do you guys think? Yeah.
Your audience.
Your audience. Very good. Good. What else?
Relevant topics.
Relevant topics. Good. What else?
You're trying to preach.
What is that?
You're trying to preach. You're trying to get someone to come to the good side.
Okay, so it should be motivational. Okay, you shouldn't be putting them like, you're all going to hellfire, right? And hell is, of course it's an evil place, but all of these things, and reminding them, and your khutbahs are always about hellfire, then there's a problem, right? Because the Quran, how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the message? He talks about Jannah and Jahannam, right? He doesn't just talk about Jahannam, and he doesn't just talk about Jannah either. So there has to be a balance. Okay, good. What else? So we said relevance, you look at the audience, you look at motivation, so you're not supposed to be putting them down. Yeah.
General topics that the youth may have questions about.
Okay, very good. So topics that youth maybe have questions about. So again, you're in high school or middle school giving khutbah, you should be addressing some of those topics that people have questions about. And so you could maybe even ask the audience, so what are some things, what are some ideas that you could give me, inshallah? All right, what am I supposed to be talking about? Okay, good. Any other ideas? Yes.
You have to have some practical things that you can take away from it.
Excellent.
Speech.
MashaAllah. So unfortunately, I've seen over many years, okay, people who have been giving khutbah for many years as well, and not to kind of like trash talk or anything like that, but they would just go to like alminbar.com pretty much, or one of the websites with khutbahs. They would print out their khutbah every week, read it over, and go and deliver it. Okay, every single week. And what do you think will happen when someone does that? Yeah.
The audience is going to be bored.
Audience is going to be bored, and it's not relevant for sure. Because you're giving khutbahs that are for people sitting in Saudi Arabia, in the Bilad, right? You're giving khutbahs that are relevant to those people, and you're just copying and pasting and putting it over here, right? So that's something definitely. I mean, I understand if you're in a hurry, last minute khutbah, you got to print something out, good, But if you're doing that every single week, then there's a problem. And so giving a relevant khutbah is very essential. What are some other things you can think of in order to get or think of a relevant topic? How do you choose a relevant topic?
Think of the age group.
Mm-hmm. So age group, You said questions that they have. Alpha said that. What else? Yeah.
Trends.
Trends. Good. Okay, so maybe there's a trend going on, some, what is that, TikToker, right? Doing some kind of crazy thing, and everyone's talking about it, and now you don't have to give a khutbah about it, obviously, right? But you mention it in the khutbah so it becomes more relevant. You understand what I'm saying? So that's very important. Also, the time and season we're in, the calendar, or where the holidays, for example, that we're in. So, for example, if like Halloween is coming up, maybe you could give a khutbah about jinns and what Muslims believe in jinns. I'm just giving an example. And for example, if Thanksgiving, so you're talking about shukr. You're talking about being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When December comes, Christmas time, you're talking about maybe family. Okay, you're talking about Isa alayhi salam. And you could brainstorm. You could think of lots of different topics. So of course you have the non-Muslim calendar, and then you have the Muslim calendar, which is even more important, right? So maybe during the Hijri, right? So you talk about the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how we should abstain from sins, those types of things, right? That type of topic. It's the month of Muharram. It's a new year, so you could talk about something like goal setting, how to set your goals for the rest of the year, right? It's Ramadan, okay? And so obviously you're going to be talking about the spiritual boot camp that we're going through, and you could talk about the Quran as it's the month of the Quran, right? So there's so many. You kind of understand, I hope, inshallah, what I'm trying to get to, that you try to keep the topic relevant based on what's going around your society, the culture, or even yourself. Okay. Any other points about this? What do you guys think about how to choose a topic? Okay. Another thing that we should keep in mind is that talk about things that you actually know about. Okay? So don't go way above, like going into some fiqh discussions that, I've never studied before, for example, and it's going to go over everyone's head. It doesn't make sense to do something like that, right? So you talk about topics that are relevant and something that is going to be at your level. That you're not just going and trying to give something that you don't even understand yourself, and you're trying to convey it to others. Okay? So that's another very, very important thing. Also, just another thing, just to kind of keep in mind that where you're giving the khutbah. Okay? Again, you might be invited to different communities. So knowing about where or which community you're being a part of. So there's some that are neighborhood masajid, or musalla, that you are, those people are giving, how could you say, like they're there usually every single Friday. They're used to being there. And you're building their knowledge, okay? Because it's a neighborhood masjid. And then there's other communities that are very like business, or there's a lot of travel, right? So like for example, a college campus. If you're in Davis, okay, or you're going to the Sac State Musalla and you're giving khutbah there, for example, right? Then you would pick topics that are maybe more motivational, short term. You're not building on a topic because these people are coming and going a lot. Okay? Does that make sense, inshallah? Inshallah. Okay. Another thing to, just some hints. Those websites that I mentioned, like Al-Mimbar, and I think Khutbah Central is still up. There's khutbah.com. There's different websites out there. It's okay to use those websites, but don't just like copy and paste it and just regurgitate it. You know what I mean? So take some from it, but change it up. Make it your own. Okay? And make sure that you're conveying it, inshallah, in your own words, not just plagiarizing something else or someone else's. Okay. Making sure that you check the night before, like the news, what's going on. Maybe some big event happened last night, and you could at least mention it in your khutbah. Again, all of these things help building relevancy with your audience, inshallah. Okay. Now, how to give the khutbah. So Hasib, he told me some things last year when they were giving khutbah. They had like 5 minutes at CO to give a khutbah, and then it was like kind of challenging, right? So they're like, okay, we got up. For a few months, they were only giving, because we have to give 2 khutbahs, right? The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to give a khutbah, to sit down, and then to give a second khutbah. So because they didn't know, and it's fine if, of course, they didn't know at that time, but they were giving only one khutbah. Okay, and then they weren't doing the sitting, and then they were even they would give it like a 1-minute speech, and then they would pray and then hurry out of there. So please keep these things in mind, and I wish please take these. I really want you guys to take notes, especially those who are giving khutbah. If you could take those and pass them on.
I was actually going to make a suggestion as well, if you're okay with it, but also taking notes on the phone. A lot of people take notes on their phones.
Fine. Yeah.
Open up your notes pad and take down some notes, some tips, some things that will stick in your head, inshallah.
Inshallah.
If anyone wants to use a paper and pen, I have 4 of these. You guys can open these and use them as a
So you could take those
I
stands.
didn't want to interrupt you, but
Inshallah. I'll give it half a minute, inshallah, if you guys want to take that. Or if you want to do it on your phone, please just don't be texting and emailing people, okay? So use it to actually
these
take
folks
the
have
lesson.
no business sending emails. Except maybe Bob.
I don't think anyone sends emails anymore, right? Your generation, mashallah, is just texting or what is DMing and this and that, right?
Anyone need some of these? Do you want guys to use this?
Okay, so main components of a khutbah, you have to, and I'll share it with Imran, and then, or if you guys want to email me, we'll figure out, maybe make a WhatsApp group and I could share it on there, inshallah. Give you a sample khutbah so that you could use that, inshallah. But you've probably heard many khatibs, they start with the sunnah khutbatun nikah, right? Inna alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh, and so on. And then you have ayat about taqwa in Allah, having taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then starting the khutbah after that. And there's difference of opinion. I don't want to go into this about the ikhtilaf al-ulama, about the, like whether it should be in Arabic and or if it could be in another language, and then you have to, there's a long discussion, debate. But I'm just going to teach you this way, which is 2 khutbahs, and you have the essential parts in Arabic. Okay? So again, you say in Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. You start, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad wattaqullah, something like that. You use different ayat exhorting people to have taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you start your speech. Okay, you start your khutbah, and how you should do it. So there's 3 things. I'm going to just tell you. This is like a broad thing. Okay, you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them, okay? You're going to tell them what you will tell them, basically. What is that also called in an essay? Introduction, okay? Then you're going to tell them, which is, you're supporting paragraphs pretty much. You could have maybe 3, 5, whatever, right? And then you tell them what you just told them. What's that? Conclusion. Yeah, okay? So introduction, supporting points or paragraphs, whatever you want to call it, then conclusion. And so you have those, that's kind of like the basic structure of your speech. But I'm going to teach you something a little bit different, what Sheikh Yasser Burjas taught me. And alhamdulillah, it takes a lot of time. I'm going to tell you that. Okay, it takes a lot of time to do it, but you do kind of start getting used to it, and then it gets a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's really easy. It does still take me a few hours. But this is a way that he taught, and I really I use this mostly. Okay, so it's A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, A. I want you to write these down, please. So A is for arresting anecdote. Okay, arresting anecdote, or you could say attention grabber. Something that grabs the attention of the audience. How many of you guys have heard of Sheikh Waseem Sharif or Hafiz Waseem Sharif? Some of you guys, he's on YouTube a lot. What's one thing, anyone watch his khutbah? What do you notice about his khutbah? What does he begin with? Anyone watch his khutbah before? He starts with a very beautiful recitation of the Quran. And you just get engaged right when he starts. And so anything that will grab the attention of the audience, a story, it could be lots of different things, right? So it could be something in the news, it could be an analogy, It could be, something that's of course related to your khutbah topic, but something that's an attention grabber. Okay? Also keep in mind, ABC will be 5 minutes, about 5 minutes. If your khutbah is about 20-25 minutes, the first 5 minutes are ABC. Okay? So attention grabber is A. Then you have B. Okay? B is for basic problem. Okay? Basic problem. So an issue in the community a lot of people are facing. It could be again something like major that happened, and a lot of people are like discussing like what should we do? How are we going to get out of this situation? So a basic problem or something like that. Again, you don't need to say a basic problem in our community, but you just generally say it. Okay? You try to go smoothly from these points. C, concern. Okay? C is for concern. C or concern, you need to make again, because you need to make it relevant, you need to make the audience feel concerned about your topic. Why should they care about your topic? Okay? Why should they care about your topic? And part of C, the last thing, in every essay or research paper, what do you do in the introduction? The last sentence usually is a thesis, okay? Or a topic sentence, right? So this is where you would give the topic of your khutbah, okay? So you kind of have people almost on edge. What do movies do, right? In the movies, it's a bad comparison, but still, right? In movies, why are we so hooked to them? Why are we usually hooked? Yeah. Cliffhangers, okay? Especially movie trailers. They have 30-second, 1 minute, 1.5, whatever minute. It's a cliffhanger. They just, what's going to happen next, right? I need to watch this movie, even though it's the most filthy or garbage movie that ever existed, but I need to watch it just because of the cool cliffhanger. Okay? So our khutbah should have a sentence or something at the end to make people want to feel concerned and want to listen to the rest of your khutbah. Now, if someone because most khatibs, how do they start? And again, we're not hating on anyone, but how do most khatibs start their khutbah? After the introduction and so on. Like in Alhamdulillah and the ayat and so on. How do they usually start?
An ayah or hadith.
Okay. An ayah or hadith, okay. Which is good, that's a good beginning too, of course.
My dear respected brothers and sisters.
Okay, yes. My dear brothers and respected brothers and sisters in Islam, or something like this, okay? And one of the things that you guys are all having trouble remembering how the khatib starts, because usually you're toned out already, right? You're like, okay, A'udhu Billah. We're adults, right? Or I'm older, and I'm kind of like that too, right? Because Instagram and all these different things, we are so used to quick things, right? And we lose attention really fast. So doing something that will catch someone's attention, then give them the basic problem and what's happening in the society around them, and then concerning them, having them be concerned about the topic. Why should they care about that topic? Okay, good. So A, B, C, how long should it be?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay? If the khutbah is 25 minutes. If it's like 10 minutes, then this should be about 2 minutes. Okay, so depending on how long your speech is, you have to adapt it. Okay. D, dramatic details. D is for dramatic details. These are the supporting arguments for your khutbah. Okay? These could be 3, 5, again, depending on how much time you have. But this is where you bring in the Quran and the Hadith and the Aqwal, Sahaba and all these different things. You bring them at this point. Okay? This is where you bring this information and you're giving, this is the essence of your khutbah or speech. Because again, this is not just for khutbahs, for speeches as well you can use this, inshallah. Okay? And so you could have, a lot of times in books they suggest 3 topics pretty much, right? Or not 3 topics, 3 points to support that topic. So you could do 3, and then if you really need to, you could put like subtitle or subtopics, to explain further, something like that. So you have those 3, okay, or 5, depending on how much time you have. And so you're giving your khutbah. This is the essence of your khutbah. This is about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? So you have ABC, 5 minutes, D, 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, depending how much time you have. And then you have E, F, and G. Okay? So the end of the first khutbah, E, is for example. Okay? E is for example. So you end the first khutbah with an example, something, maybe someone who, passed away recently. It could be from the Sahaba, it could be from the Tabi'een, from the ulama, it could anyone, or even just a regular person. It's a story, an example about your topic. Okay? About your topic. Whatever the topic is. If you're talking about khushu in salah, and then you give an example of maybe a sahabi who had a lot of khushu in salah. Okay? So, depending on that, whatever your topic is, you give an example that people can walk away with. Okay? And it's engaging, it could be a story, it could be something like that, but something really powerful. In one of my khutbahs, I gave an example of, I can't remember his name, but you know that energy drink, 5-hour energy? He's a Hindu guy in Michigan. He made this 5-hour energy drink. And what was I talking about? I was talking about being beneficial to mankind or something like that. This guy basically, he made billions of dollars off of this 5-hour energy. And then what he does is he hired a bunch of engineers and he starts solving their problems in the real world. So he made this bike that you could make electricity from, or generates electricity. He made all these salt cleaning system, water cleaning system. He made all these different things. So your example doesn't have to be Islamic, okay? It's better if you have something like that, something powerful, but it could be anything, okay? So an example of someone doing something that's relevant to your khutbah. Okay, then you end your khutbah. So usually the khatib, and I'll give you the template inshallah. فأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Or سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. There's a lot of different. You could just end the khutbah, and this is the sunnah, or you could say, I don't even want to say sunnah. I'm not sure if it's sunnah, but it's better to end with something by like making istighfar, basically. Okay, so I don't want to say it's sunnah because I'm not sure about. And then during the break, when you sit down, you make istighfar. Okay, you make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remind yourself. Okay, you. Again, remember your khutbah is a reminder for you to yourself first. Okay? And inshallah, I'm going to do an activity. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit longer. But I'll finish up and then I'm going to let you guys go into groups and we'll do an activity together. Okay, so you have the example. Now you start your second khutbah. Okay? Second khutbah, you could say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You could say Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. You could, anything. Basically, you say, you do tahmeed, you remember, you praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? You praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you begin your khutbah, and you could mention an ayah or something like that, whatever you want to do. The F and G. Okay? F, they said it's facts from the other side. Okay? You don't have to use this, but you can if you want to. Okay? So these, you can think of questions that the audience has about your topic. Okay?
Can you say it again? F was what?
Facts from the other side. So maybe someone has there's a debate going on about your topic. Okay? There's some questions about it. Okay? When I give you an example, inshallah, it'll be a little bit clearer. But you have something in there where it's like, and it could be even just facts. It could be some kind of, some kind of research or something, and you mention it, okay, 11% of youth between 13 and 15 have watched porn before. And that's, actually, it's much higher than that. But something like that. You can mention that, right? In the khutbah. and you mention a fact, or you give like you answer those questions then. Okay? So you answer that doubt that some people have in your khutbah. G, and this is the last one, okay? Goad. Anyone know what even goad means? I didn't know when I heard it for the first time. Goad means to motivate someone to action.
How's that spelled?
G-O-A-D. So this is, I usually give homework, okay? So I taught for several years, right? So I usually give homework at this time. So I give them either practical things they could do, or give them like, hey, go home and do this with your family. Hey, do this. And it could be like one thing, two things, three, whatever. Up to you. Okay? F and G is another 5 minutes. So again, A, B, C, how many minutes?
5.
D?
10 to 15.
10 to 15. And then E, D and E are 10 to 15. F and G? 5. Okay? And sometimes I usually, or sometimes I do this too, where I make E the second part of the khutbah, or second khutbah. So I use the example, I start with the story, and then I mention F and G. Okay. Any questions so far?
Can you explain D again? Dramatic.
Dramatic details is the essence of your khutbah. So whatever your topic is, this is the supporting details, Quran, hadith, tafsir, whatever you're trying to say, you should be using the Quran and hadith, of course, to support your argument. And so, you're mentioning it here. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Delivery, and then we'll break up into groups. Are they going to pray at 8:45 exactly, inshallah, or do we have some?
Depending on Imam, but we could push it typically.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can push to 9, I think that would work.
Inshallah, you wouldn't mind.
Inshallah. Yes.
I don't know too much about khutbahs, but is there any opportunity for debates? I don't know if that's the thing. If
in a
you have
khutbah?
Questions, would it be discussed after the khutbah's over or during it?
After.
After.
Yeah. So in the khutbah, one of the etiquettes of the khutbah is that the audience is not even actually supposed to speak at all. Okay, it invalidates basically your khutbah or your Jum'ah if you're speaking. Like for example, if someone's you're nudging someone to be quiet, and even something like this takes away from your reward. I shouldn't say nullify. It takes away from the reward of your Jum'ah. Okay, checking your phone, playing with the carpet, sitting back, doing these types of things. It takes away the reward from the reward of the Jummah khutbah, of attending the Jummah khutbah. So any type of debate, anything like that, you should after. Hopefully you won't have any debates, right? That's I hope nobody, because that's challenging, right? When someone challenges you after the khutbah, it kind of I was giving a khutbah one time about how men should treat women and spouses and respect and so on. And one of the brothers came up afterward. He's like, "What about the sisters? They should be respecting us too." And they just went off on me. I was like, "Okay, yeah, you're right. That's true as well." But anyway, so that should be after the khutbah. Okay? Yes.
What if so sometimes experiences too. So sometimes the khatib has a joke or something, or sometimes they just say something funny. Are you allowed to say it, and is the audience allowed to laugh and stuff?
Very good question. Okay, very good question. So you shouldn't purposely be giving jokes and making jokes in your khutbah. Okay, you shouldn't purposely be doing it. Sometimes it happens though. It comes out kind of funny. It comes out in a way that people laugh. That's okay. But if someone is every Friday he's making the people laugh, then there's a problem. They should relax a little bit. Okay? Because the khutbah, the Prophet ﷺ, we know that his cheeks would be red and he would be pretty fiery in the khutbah. Alright? So he wasn't cracking jokes in the khutbah. If it slips and something happens and people laugh, there's nothing wrong with that. However, this should not be the norm. Okay? Okay, inshallah. Yeah.
What should the khatib do if he notices the followers in the crowd either on their phone or speaking with each other?
A gentle reminder if it's really affecting their khutbah. Like today, the someone's cell phone was blaring off 3-4 times It just got really annoying, and it just I lost my train of thought and everything. Then I asked them, please, could you turn off your phones? If it's getting really bothering you, I would say something to them, not like directly, but just say, brothers, in the khutbah we should not be speaking to one another, or sisters if you can see them or what. So you kind of give a gentle reminder without like, hey you, stop talking, So don't call anyone out, right? And actually don't use your finger when you're talking. This is about delivery too. So we shouldn't ever be like pointing fingers at people and that person is going to hellfire or something like that. Just stay away from that, okay? Because some people, they're just in the moment and they're talking and they get excited and maybe they don't mean to do that, but like what did I do, right? So just be careful of that. Okay, delivery, a few things just to kind of take into consideration. So the podium, for example, make sure that when you are going to a masjid that you know how it's going to be. And I'll give you like an example last week or maybe 2 weeks, I can't remember. I was in Folsom Masjid, MCF. And their main, where I usually give khutbah there, like it's on the minbar, their mic wasn't working, something happened. So they had me stand where the Imam usually stands, in like front of the audience on the bottom part, and there was no pulpit or no stand. Okay, I usually have a laptop or my notes or something. So now I'm like trying to figure out like what am I supposed to do, right? You can't hold your laptop. You can't. But I'm just giving you practical tips, inshallah. So paper, if you're holding it like this and reading it or something, it gets kind of odd, right? So make sure you do your homework, and I should have done that. But you call them, text them, whatever. Ask them beforehand. How does the member look? Okay. Is there a stand? Is there a what do you call them again? I just said it.
Podium.
Podium. Is there a podium? Is there a place I can put my notes? The demographics. I think some of you guys mentioned it. Ask these types of questions before you give the khutbah there. Okay. Also, do not be monotone. How many of you have fell asleep in a khutbah before? Okay? And maybe I've put someone to sleep too, so I apologize for that, right? But if you are talking with like a monotone voice, you will put people to sleep. Okay? It's 20 minutes, right? And people are tired after work or after lunch and whatnot, it's gonna make people tired. So making sure that when you're speaking, and again, it's gonna take practice, it's gonna take time. Don't worry about that, right? Everyone messes up. So hiring your voice, lowering your voice, trying to change it up a little bit while you're delivering the speech. The other thing, I can't remember where I learned it, but President Obama, he was one of the best speakers. If you watch any of his speeches, he was one of the best orators that of the presidents at least. And one of the things they said is that the basketball, when you hold a basketball, it's like this, right? You're holding a basketball. So they were saying that if you watch Obama carefully, usually he was speaking, a lot of times he would be speaking like this, okay? And so when you're using hand gestures like this or like this, like sometimes it's hard to tell, but if we do it like this, or we're too close, or it just gives a different vibe, right? And so using your hands, going like, don't do it too much either, right, to distract people, but do it to a sense where you're it's helping people stay focused. Okay, hope that makes sense, inshallah. A couple of things. Making sure that you're going around the audience. Okay, so when you're talking, making sure that, like for example, Sheikh Yasser, he suggested 3 sections of the audience. Okay, and so you're talking, and I'm looking over here. Okay, now he's alone here, but if and there's 100 people here, you're looking in that direction. I'm not like looking at him directly. That would get awkward, right? If the khatib's looking right at your eyes, it's like, wait, what? You like look away. It looks weird, right? So you shouldn't look directly at someone's eyes. Just look in their direction, right over their head. Okay. Then in the middle, same thing. So you're doing that. Maybe you go here and then you go here, and you're giving everyone attention in a sense. Okay? So I'm looking at you, I'm not looking directly right in your eyes, I'm looking right pretty much over your heads. Okay? Like that, in a sense. Again, when there's a bigger audience, like if you're at Masjid al-Nur, there's like 500-600 people sitting there, and it gets difficult. But trying to make different segments, and you're going through the audience in that sense. Okay? Inshallah. Time, and this is the last point, inshallah, and then I'll give the activity. So time management, try to start your khutbah on time. And you should be there 10-15 minutes early. Okay? Try your best to be there 10-15 minutes early, and then start your khutbah on time, and try to end 1 or 2 minutes before the time. Okay? So just in case if your salah takes longer, you have some time and I've had people, okay, I messed up, alright? This one guy, he's standing up, I don't know, maybe there's something but he was standing up in the middle of the masjid while I'm giving khutbah, and he keeps going like this, just staring at me, okay? And it was a few months ago, and I was like, at first I was like, okay, why is he just standing there? It was just weird, right? I was weirded out, and I'm like losing my focus. I'm like, why is this guy, is he about to bust out a gun? I don't know what's, anyway, so I was getting scared too. And then all of a sudden, he's like, all right, and I'm like, wait. Then I'm looking at the time, like, I still got like 5-7 minutes. I don't know what. And then he's like this. Then he left and he got really mad. Then he's standing at the door. Anyways, it got like weird, right? And then after the khutbah, I tried to find him and he was gone. But the thing is that when the khatib goes over, some people, not everyone, right, is off of work afterwards. Some people have to rush back to work, right? When I was working with the state of California in downtown, there's sometimes they would go over the time, and then I was getting in trouble at work because my boss, my manager, like, why are you late? Okay, you need to work half an hour extra, you need to do, even though I was like 5 minutes late, but she's like, oh, you need to do this, and she was giving me a tough time. So you have to keep everything in mind, that people are there, they have to get back to work, they have to do something afterwards, and so keeping it, to the time. And the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which we don't follow, is that he would actually make the khutbah short, not like 5 minutes, but like shorter, and he would make the salah longer. Okay? We do the opposite. We make the khutbah very long, 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then we make the salah 5 to 7 minutes. And so there's a reason why the Prophet ﷺ, he was a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was, I'm sure his khutbahs were very, very powerful, and he was giving short khutbahs. But for some reason we like to give long khutbahs, and I don't know, maybe we'll hopefully change that one day, or your generation will change that one day, where it'll be 10 to 12 minutes or 15 minutes max, and that's it. Okay? So that's my bit, inshallah, and what we're going to do now. Imran, you need to tell me what the prizes are, though. Let's get these guys excited. Or is there any?
So inshallah, for first place, we'll do a $50 gift card.
Okay. Inshallah.
And then I don't know. Should we do second and third or no?
I think is good enough.
Because we're probably only gonna have 3-4 groups.
Yeah.
But then technically, one person. Because if we're gonna do groups, but we're only gonna have one person represent the group.
Yeah.
It's gonna take 2 minutes.
So are we gonna give the group gift card or?
Yeah. So what we can do is we'll lower the amount so that way each person in the group gets a gift. Let's say 20-25 per person.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah. Can I just quickly make a
please,
remark, inshallah?
Yeah.
And this is actually a question. So let me ask a question first. This came to my mind. So one of the biggest things, alhamdulillah, I've been given khutbahs for a very long time, like Lodi Masjid here, Tawheed, Sac State, a bunch of different places. The biggest thing that I would always see is that when I am being authentic and real, it's something that I truly believe in, it reaches the people. And we have this saying constantly, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So there's a level of heart that needs to be involved in what you're presenting, and that's why it's very important to constantly reflect throughout your week, right? And also actually do the due diligence. Someone told me this, he's like, it's unfair of the khatib to prepare for 15, 20, 30 minutes, give a mediocre khutbah when you have these, maybe it's 10 people, maybe it's 100 people who have gotten up early, they showered, they got dressed, they clipped their nails, they have done all of this, and they now come and they drive and they sit down, and you barely prepped for a khutbah. And that really changed my perspective about how I prepare for my khutbahs. My question to you is, when I first started, and even till now, what I do a lot is I actually look up khutbahs on YouTube, and typically a lot of khutbahs are like 30 minutes, but I'll condense it to like 15, 20 minutes. Do you recommend that? Do you think that's a good starting point?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, mashallah. That's an excellent way to start. Like Sheikh Yasir Qadi, Noman Ali Khan, there's so many different speakers out there. You listen to their khutbah, you condense it, and then you could add your points to it, right? And then you deliver it, inshallah, in that way, which is because you're taking from an, inshallah, an authentic source too. So that's a very important. And I wanted to add to that what you said, like in Surah As-Saf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun, right? That, oh, you who believe, why do you say what you do not do, in a sense? Right? And so when we're giving a khutbah, we need to be reflective. It's something maybe that we don't have yet in our life, but that should be a reminder for ourselves first. Okay? And like Imran was saying about the rest of the week, thinking about that. Thinking and reflecting, do I really apply that? And especially when you're preparing for it, making sure that you're kind of thinking about how like authentic am I being? Am I just being like totally fake? Like and right after the khutbah you're doing the complete opposite of what you were just preaching about? A'udhu billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, keep us sincere, and give us the juhud, or the making the effort in Allah's cause and putting that time in. Again, like Imran mentioned, this is a very important point. You need to make sure that you're putting your effort in. That people spent, their day getting ready for this khutbah or this Jummah and coming and preparing, and then you're just like, whatever,
Just like the last few remarks is, I'll give you an example. Even the khutbah that I gave at Sac State today, took me about, actually it was a recycled khutbah, that's another thing. Eventually when you give a lot of khutbahs you can kind of go back and like, oh, I gave this one. But even that one took me 2 to 3 hours to come to terms with, because I'm scanning a bunch of different topics. Then I finally decided on one, then I have to listen to it, then I have to write it down, then I have to memorize it, then I have to internalize it, and then I have to practice it. So that 15-20 minutes, it was a 2-3 hour session of trying to really work on it. So there's a level of juhd and striving that you need to put into it. One last thing I want to mention is, why are you guys here? The reason you're here is there's a level of potential that we saw in each and every single one of you in terms of giving back to your community. There is a huge crisis, I would say, that's happening in Sacramento with all these high schools that are filled with Muslims and they're not praying Jum'ah. And I don't know if everyone here knows the importance of Jum'ah, but some scholars say, if not all, consensus that if you miss X amount of Jum'ahs, 3, that you fall out of the fold of Islam. Like you have to take your Shahada again, essentially, right? That's scary. That's very scary. And there are thousands of Muslim refugees in these high schools. There's a reason why I specifically contacted Yusabur. There's a specific reason why I contacted brothers who can speak the language of Farsi and Pashto and so on and so forth. So the goal of this, long story short, the goal is to empower you, because it's needed, and have you guys give khutbahs at different high schools. If you're at a college level, maybe you can give to your college, but if that's covered, then you can give to local high schools. And inshallah, we're going to start this and continue to go forward. We want to make a group that's consistent, people who are serious and committed, and inshallah on a weekly basis, maybe at once a month or twice a month, we will meet up to continue to support you through this effort. You see what I'm saying? But it's a larger picture. It's not about me, right? It's about the community. What can we give to the community, not what we can take. So if you came here to take, no, came here to give, inshallah. That being said, inshallah.
And just about that point, Toastmasters. This is a non-Muslim organization. They help prepare people to give speeches. Okay, they're on different campuses, and you could sign up for them. I think there's a fee too, and they have several in Sacramento. But there's Muslim ones in the Bay Area. Maybe this is time where we start one here.
Inshallah.
Okay, and they have all the material. Yeah, go ahead.
as a college student, how do you get in contact with high schools if you want to help out?
That's what we're inshallah going to be walking you guys through. We're not going to leave you guys, how to say, high and dry. The idea is, mashallah, Brother Waseem has been working for years in the past with different high school MSAs. We are going to be contacting people who are going to high school and they have their siblings. And so the idea is, please don't go out into the world and try to do things by yourself. Have someone that you're connected to, right? Have someone who is an elder that you're connected to that can keep you grounded and guide you properly. Don't try to go out there by yourself. You understand? As a group, inshallah, we go out there and inshallah we make it happen, inshallah. Yeah.
So by that, do you mean like actually visiting high schools and giving khutbahs?
Oh yeah.
Or like the high school that you're at?
Depending. If you're the high school that you're at, then the high school that you're at, inshallah. But if you're in college, for example, and Fridays you don't have classes, then we would send you a high school.
Are you allowed to try high school if you're not school?
We would figure something out, but for last I checked, last time I came as a visitor once before.
Because when we were in middle school last year, we tried to do that with try to read some shuyukh in to give khutbahs during our Jumu'ah prayer over there. They told us no.
Inshallah khair. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I guess it depends from school to school,
Yeah.
probably, and you could bring in a guest. Some maybe allow it, maybe not. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it should be able to happen because I've seen Christian people at my previous high school. They've been able to give talks and stuff. Even I've gone there just to gain insight of a different perspective, right? So I think it should be okay to do that as Muslims, right?
So let's get to the fun part.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now? You guys are gonna you can choose your own groups. We have about 20 minutes, inshallah. Okay. Actually, we have about 15 minutes. We're gonna shorten the time a little bit because.
I'll tell them in 9.
Okay, sure. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna use A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're gonna in a group. You're gonna write a khutbah or a speech. Okay. And you're going to take. You have 15 minutes to do it. Guys, listen. You have 15 minutes, inshallah, to do it in a group. You could use your phones. You could use Google, check Google. You can use, whatever you want, okay? But you have 15 minutes, and how many people do we have? Exactly about 20. So let's make 3 groups of 3. So 7 groups. Is that cool? 7 people in the group. Will we have enough time to give the speeches then?
No, 7 people in each group, so 3 groups.
Yeah. Oh no, I was thinking the other way, like 7 groups, 3 people in each.
Oh, okay.
But that might be too much time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So let's do it the other way then.
Maybe we do 4 groups of 5.
That works. Okay. 4 groups of 5 is probably better. Okay. So let's do 4 groups of 5, and your objective is to write a speech about any topic using A through G. Okay.
Let's go.
Using A through G. 15 minutes.
Groups of 5.
And you will. One last thing. Sorry. You will have a max of 5 minutes to speak. Okay. So 1 minute. Like ABC is gonna be like 1 minute. D 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then end. Okay? So let's go.
And then one person is presenting.
Yeah.
One person is gonna present it.
We're 3. We need 2 more people.
You have to get him. You're in the class. You gotta get him.
I'll be the person that's like looking straightforward, not
I don't know.
How can you guys got?
You make it sick. We gotta give it to the other people.
You don't count.
It was at school, right? We had to.
You guys can spread out more. You got on this side, so you get some more.
So you got experience from last week, so.
No, it was right here.
Remember, choose who's gonna get that speech. Alright, remember who's gonna get our choose.
What about dangers of social media and wasting time? I have a couple.
We have one person.
4 topics. 4 topics. We'll pick one.
That's good.
Okay, let's just take a vote. Social media, yes or no? Raise your hand if you're cool with social media. It's like dangers of social media.
Let's say like social media and time management.
Yeah. Do we have how many people?
Sure.
I don't know what the other topics. What are
What are the other topics?
Okay, what other topics do you have?
What do you?
I think the first Surah Al-Baqarah. I think the
Yo,
first
we
ayat.
have 5 minutes.
I can
You guys
make
have
it.
10 minutes.
I did it for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay, who wants to do Surah Al-Baqarah?
What are you gonna
إن
talk
الذين
about?
كفروا سواء عليكم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. I think we should talk about people who don't want to, people who don't care about it.
I think social media is more relevant.
Give them out. That's the topic.
It's relevant, and time in Islam is the place where
That's the only thing that I can do.
time is
They don't have much time.
I can talk about social media. Social media time
Technology, resting attitude, attention grabber. All right, bet. I got this. So, hey, I don't got this.
attention grabber.
Attention grabber. Can I
Let's do
myself?
pros and cons and then start from there. Go
What?
like pros and cons.
First of all, you gotta do the.
No, attention grabber. You're not gonna start with pros and
No,
cons.
I'm listening.
What's it called? Attention grabber, you can talk about the dangers of social media. You can talk about what's going on.
That is gonna be C, sir. And about topic.
C is the
basic
facts,
problem.
right?
See, it's the
So
fact.
a resting anecdote has to be something funny, not funny, but like something like about me, how I messed up in social media.
It's basically the what's it called?
I want everybody to pull out their phone and look up their screen time. That's hard. Is that good?
No, but that it's a speech. It's 5 minutes. You're not.
Yeah, that takes 3 seconds. What do you guys think?
You're not. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
Khatma, bro. You can't play it for the
No, you
khatma.
can't.
my thought is
Dude, just listen.
Yeah, you can, bro. I'm thinking outside the box. Okay, all small
Think of
minds.
myself.
you are
Wait, who's gonna give the speech?
That attention grabber has to be attention grabbing.
yeah.
That's like a whole point.
Haji, who's gonna give the speech?
Doesn't matter.
Who wants to give the speech? What do you give the speech?
Go for it.
Okay.
You give the speech, think about the $25.
Have you ever checked your screen time? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's good. And you can bring some classes.
Okay.
That's an intro. Intro.
Intro is taqwa. Ayat taqwa.
Allah. Yeah.
You don't need to, you can just say Bismillah. We have very limited time, so you don't have to begin with the.
Oh no,
Yeah.
said you can. You have to start with the introduction. You don't have to start with the.
You don't have to start with that.
Y'all got a solid 6, bro. One of you guys just join us, bro.
It's kind of an audience.
No, but I don't count.
Like that? You're gonna walk off.
Somebody should come. I mean, it's 2 people, bro.
Jafar, you're not allowed to present.
I'm not. I know he's presenting. I know.
You got too much experience.
Okay, but I'm gonna go help them out too.
I just give bullet points. I'm not. Basic problem. No, screen time, so much information. I don't know if there's some, I think there's some good information.
There's good information, but there's also
Think about the net positive or net negative. Like how much time we spend. What is happening when we spend 7 hours a day?
Yeah. You're like spending on like Quran or Hadith or just learning about Islam.
Hey, we lost another.
It's like that.
Good.
That's like a.
let's see.
Alright, we're on the basic problem. The issue at hand.
I'm there. Yeah, that's true. I like that. But what do you think? The fitna, I wasn't going to talk about the bad aspects of what you pull up on the phone, but the actual time management. But we can bring that, like,
Like
if
you're
you guys
talking
wanna shift
about,
that.
we're wasting time more than
Yeah,
talking about
not actual like
effects
content.
or
Yeah, or like what kind of fit.
You can also see like on social media when people post their stuff like the more you spend more time on that, like
Other people probably didn't know.
posting on their
What do you think about this? Oh, that is so bad. It's so bad. Because usually I ask the kids after, like, what's that? Moving quickly. You know, like that's so. The first one is also really good.
Something related
Every single time. I'm sure Jamal is like, I'm like, man, come on. So
I know, I just found a hadith about time. Time management.
It's just that
Hadith about time. You just read it off the phone.
Instead of like trying to get out some people, they might think like, oh,
Just hang out. So since mine was at school, right now it's just like so.
that could even be some people's intentions about being here. Maybe they just want to chill, have a barbecue.
Free time. Free time with Farah.
Free time.
Free time. There are two blessings which many people lose. There are health and free time for doing good. Not to say in Arabic, just say in English. Because it's kind of easy for you.
a lot of times I'll take an article and the end of my khutbah will be the practice of from that article. I've looked at the summary. It's very helpful.
What did Imam say about, I think it was
He had a website, I don't think it's put some
days
I think the actual
sleep
answer is
study?
and then sometimes like some matters.
I think I read
Oh, like about his biography or whatever? Like, talking about his life. Because he used to be like spending countless days.
Why not take a rather than just point at there's some people that puts out
That's why we
you're gonna say something you definitely wrong. What's happening?
Guys, you have to no, you said 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll give you guys 3 minutes. 3 minutes, come on.
that's easy.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're on C.
So remember, you have a 5-minute speech.
Yeah, this is like 1 minute.
Okay. So let's try to hurry it up a little bit.
Make sure you have points where you're not going to necessarily have to read. Okay, so you have like a, you already know what you're going to say, but you have a key point here that jogs your memory to remember everything else.
Maybe a second before.
Alright, dramatic details.
What did you bring up?
To get themselves in
maybe
you can do that.
Brought up a different point.
Okay, you're on a break. Where are you right now?
Oh yeah.
Right here.
Can we do it like Is it 5 minutes? Okay. 5 minutes, guys. We have 5 more minutes. Okay? 5. You want 3? You can take 3. I don't know. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
You guys officially have 5 minutes now. We decided to extend the time.
This I'm gonna add to it on the head.
What is that?
How it lies for us.
Example of like wasting time.
Like binge watching Netflix or whatever. Like I get 10 hour.
And they were like, what we could do more time, and like how
Been watching it.
Also add that it's not even I think I was like, wow, that's
might get lost in his eyes when it's and then Nikki's gonna say
someone slapped me.
that's a good topic.
4 minutes.
You're gonna last place for that.
Going to hell. You are going to Honestly, he's gonna be like, I'll beat you in wrestling.
Oh, that's
I had a good talk. And actually,
to make sure audience
I'm gonna skip F because I don't think like facts from the other side or questions from the audience. I don't think that's. I'm just gonna write down G and then I'm gonna go back and add what you just said. For G, like, so like the next week take a look at the screen time and be mindful of how much time you're really spending on it. Yeah.
1 minute. Yeah, you guys have 1 minute. That's wrong. I never watched it.
Take some pictures. Sport, give me a camera.
It's in the car, don't worry about it. That's not the car. Plus. Alhamdulillah,
I messaged Ibrahim, he said they were at a wedding and they got stuck. Like, if they weren't going to go, they ended up going, and then when they went, they couldn't leave.
What were you saying that one of the girls want to go back to?
I'm gonna take some pictures. I called him.
Don't ask me.
I'm so used to it.
guess maybe you should.
Yeah.
I'm also going to bring the
That mustache. Nah, don't get the mustache. Make sure it's like cut off. And the nose, bro. Pop right into the point.
Alright guys, if we could get everyone back together, please.
Alright, guys, time's up.
We got the firewood.
The Queen's death.
Who's the judge?
Huh?
Yeah, so this is what he's the irony, and this is.
He said we can solve this.
إذا الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستعينه ونستغفره. About to take a minute.
Everyone back, please. Come on. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A couple things before you guys start, and I should have done this maybe before. A couple resources before, so that you have them and you have something that you could go back to. Okay, you're in a bind, you're in a hurry, you need a khutbah. What do? What can you do? Okay, so one, sunnah.com. Okay, sunnah.com. It has, I believe, all the hadith books. At least the 6 major hadith books. It's everything, and it's searchable. Okay, so it's you can just search. You're thinking of a hadith, you just search it. It comes up in the Arabic, the translation. It's there. Okay, so sunnah.com, sunnah.com. Very good resource. Other thing, Quran.com. Right, simple. Quran.com. The entire Quran, again, is searchable. That's the key. That you're thinking about an ayah, you can't think, you can't, it's not coming to your mind. You could actually even just type in QUL, like qul, and it would come up with the search with any ayah that starts with qul, okay? Or has qul in the ayah itself.
There's also an app called Ayat.
Ayat, okay, I haven't heard of that one. Yeah. There's Quran Hive, there's some other apps that you could use as well. Muslim Matters is a really good website. It's authentic. There's a lot of scholarly people writing on there. MuslimMatters.com, very, very good website. We were just talking about a few. ProductiveMuslim.com. Okay, so I was telling Brother Imran that when I end the khutbah with the homework assignments, a lot of my points will come from Productive Muslim. I'll take some of those points, make some practical things, and mention it from there. Okay, so productivemuslim.com is a very good website. And last thing, YouTube, but be careful. Okay, so YouTube's awesome, it's an amazing site, but try to find speakers who have studied somewhere or have some knowledge. I would use someone who, like Sheikh Yasser Qadi, for example, Sheikh Yasser Burjas, Sheikh Walid Basyuni. Those are like the famous ones or popular ones, right? Then there's other speakers out there that you can listen to, but just and again, like Imran was saying about having a link with your elders. So reach out to Imran, reach out to me, reach out to someone who can is this guy kind of legit? What do you think about him? That type of thing, and we could kind of help guide you, okay? Because there are some people who say some crazy stuff online, right? And so we want to avoid that, because if you're saying that, and then you're now spreading, fabricated hadith and stuff like that, and then that's very, very troublesome. Okay, with that being said, inshallah, we're gonna have 2 speeches before Aisha and then 2 after. Who wants to go first?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
I don't want to do it after Aisha. There'll be too many people. I don't have to say like Indian, I don't have to sit down.
Just Bismillah is fine.
Okay, so the judges is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, inshallah. We're going to judge who gets first place. Whenever you're ready, start, and I'll start the timer.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. When I'm going to be in the back. When I do this, that's going to be your 1 minute.
1 minute remaining?
1 minute.
Okay. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. How many prayers are there? It's a simple question, but many youth don't know this answer, which is sad. A lot of our youth today are leaving off the salah, and they don't know its importance, and they don't know its punishment for leaving it off. How many salahs are there? This is a basic question, but sadly a lot of people don't know that. And it causes them, a lot of people don't know this answer, so obviously they're not praying, which is sad. So not praying causes them to leave Islam, and when they leave Islam, it causes them to look further and look beyond Islam for other sources of influence and ways to live their life, which causes them to look at influencers such as famous actors or famous football players or the like of that. Allah says in the Quran, Surah Mudaththir, Ayah 42 and Ayah 43, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرْ قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. And this is one of the proofs used by the scholars to prove that the person that does not pray is not not a Muslim. And the meaning of this ayah is what has caused you to enter the scorching fire, and they will say, we were not of those who used to offer their prayer. Okay. And there's also a hadith, we were talking about the bad of the salah, or the punishment of leaving off the salah, and now we're going to talk about the good of praying. And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that said, on the day of judgment, the first thing that the slave will be, and I'm just summarizing it, I'm not saying word for word, the first thing that the slave will be asked about is the prayer. And if it's good, everything after it will be good, and if it's bad, everything after will be bad. And I just want to remind everyone that one good deed is equal to 10 good deeds, so one prayer is equal to 10, so 5, that's 50 good deeds. So inshallah we can start praying again and advising those who don't pray to start praying again. Subhanallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Takbir. 3 minutes to spare.
Yeah, that was so fast.
That was a good reminder. You guys want to go next? Alright, let's go. Hey, who knows? Depending if it keeps going this way, we might be able to add it.
Yeah, get it before it's full.
Yeah.
That's positive.
Whenever you start, I'm going to start the timer, and when I go like this, that's a 1 minute reminder. Like 1 minute left.
إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصالحين اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وذريته. Why are we all here gathered today under this roof? Are we here to hang out and get some grilled food? Are we here to learn how to give khutbahs? The 5 pillars of Islam are Shahada, Salah, Siyam, Zakah, and Hajj. But something that isn't talked about as much is the niyyah, or the intention in English. One of the central hadith in Islam are إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته كانت هجرة لدنيا يصيبها ومن كانت هجرته I can't read it from my thing. The translation of the khutbah is the actions are judged by their intention, and everyone will get what was intended for them. Whoever migrates with an intention for Allah and His Messenger, migration will be for the sake of Allah and His Messenger. And whoever migrates for worldly gain or for marriage, then his migration will be for the sake that he migrated for. Brothers and sisters, we all do different things in our life for different reasons each day. But what is our reason for doing all those actions? Is our reason worldly gain or is it heavenly gain? When we pray our salah, whether it is at school, or whether it's at work, or whether it's at home, what is our reason for praying? Are we praying to waste time off class, or to take a break from work? Or are we just praying because we know we have to, but we don't really mean it? Or is our salah deep with intention, and do we mean it for Allah, and because we know what it means in our religion? أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إن الله غفور رحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. What is our intention for standing up here and giving this khutbah instead of being outside, hanging out and talking? Are we here for the gift card? Or are we here to actually learn and implement this into our lives? Alhamdulillah, I was blessed to go second out of the 4 khutbahs. So let me be a reminder for the next 2 khutbahs. As you come up here, renew your intention. Do not come up here just for the gift card and for worldly gain. Come up here to learn and to teach a lesson. As we pray Aisha, renew your intention for that too. Pray for the sake of Allah, not just so that you get it done. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. آمين. وأقم الصلاة.
That was also with 3 minutes to spare. 5 minutes is a long time, mashallah. That was only 3 minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
We can do it. It's a little bit longer, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Next group, Abdullah, let's go.
Practically not. We gotta get points with that. We need 2 minutes.
Good. So far, whenever you're ready to start, I'll give you a 1 minute warning.
Okay. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره وأعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. Brothers and sisters, when was the last time you guys checked your screen time on your phone? Like seriously, just went into the settings and just looked at it and was like, yo, how long have I been on my phone today? I know I have, and it's pretty crazy to think about how much of our day we spend on our phone. And the issue at hand is that many of us don't realize how much time is spent every day, every week, every month on our phone. And what are the consequences of that? What are we losing to be 5, 6, 7, 8 hours spent on our phone every single day? This is really concerning, especially as young Muslim youth and Muslim adults, because this is the time, this is the age we have to build good habits. This is the time we set it in stone. So another issue at hand is getting the wrong idea, especially on social media, of how people live their lives, how great their lives are, when in reality they're just sharing the best aspect of it. So that's something to keep in mind, and it stems a lot of insecurities. It makes us want to live a life that nobody really lives. So one of the things that really stood out to me was a hadith. I'm just going to paraphrase it. It's one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is how fast time feels, or how fast it moves. So when you're sitting on your phone, time flies. Like you can be on your phone, you can be on TikTok just scrolling super quickly, and it feels like 15 minutes. It's realistically been like 3 hours. You've just been scrolling. You completely forget that time exists. So a lot of people, when they pass away, all they want is to come back and give their shahada and pray 2 rak'ahs. And we're throwing away this time like it's free, and like we don't have a timer on it. Like every day we're not getting closer to death. And it's funny that I remember at the khutbah at Noor, they were touching upon this today too. How normal it is for many of us to actually be proud of a show or a movie we've been binge watching, or we've just been killing time. Like, yo, I got like 15 episodes of Attack on Titan done today. Yeah, like, it's not good. So, inshallah, for the next week, I want every single one of you guys, just keep a mental note in the back of your head and check your settings. See how much you're using, like how much time you're giving to your phone versus how much time you're giving to your prayers. Just put it on a scale, see how much time you're being wasted and how much benefit really comes out of scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram, watching YouTube videos that don't really benefit you in the long run. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. Yeah.
Takbir. Takbir. That was with 1 minute and 40 to start.
Wow, mashallah.
A
lot of barakah.
That is barakah. That was a very good line of talk. I think there's 2 minutes left for Iqamah, so the last group right after Isha.
Do you think we could just do it right now?
You want to do it quickly? Or not quickly, take your time, but you have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You have 5 minutes. When you start, I'll start the timer, and then I'll give you a hands up if there's 1 minute left. Everyone quiet, don't talk while the presenter is speaking.
So you guys all know, probably about like a couple weeks ago, the Queen died in the UK, you know. So as you can say, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة. Even if you're in a fortified fortress, then death will reach you, no matter where you are. And then, you know, we can see from this that the queen is in a palace and she was living her life. And despite this, the angel of death came to her and he took her life. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. Every soul will taste death, taste death, and they shall come back to us. ثُمَّ إِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. So this topic is very sensitive, and a lot of people tend to shy away from this, and they think about death as like a distasteful topic, and it is, yes, because it shows us that this dunya isn't temporary. It makes us think about these things that it gives us these negative impressions, that it has like a negative impact on our lives, and it makes us think about death more and more, and that we have to eventually return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, we chase the amusements of this life over and over and over again, and we tend to forget the time that we're wasting, and the time that eventually we're gonna have to taste death once for all. Every soul will take that. If you're the queen, if you're a servant, or whoever you are, that death will overtake you once in the end of your life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم بسم الله وأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لاعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. Know that أنما حياة الدنيا is لعب and له. It's a amusement, and it's play. You can say the literal meaning of لعب is playfulness, right? لعب. اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب وله. It's basically it's just amusement and له. It's just amusement. And just like the queen, we can again go back to the example of the queen. She had everything. She had servants. She had money, wealth, power, everything. She was basically the queen of England, right? And when you see this, that even though she was the queen, she had everything. When she passed away, she left everything. She can't take that her kingdom to her grave. This kingdom of hers wasn't gonna go take her to the akhirah. So we can also see that whenever we pass away, even if you're a servant, if you have the car, money, power, whatever you hold in this world, it's not going to take you to, it's not going to go to the hereafter. And also, an example of this is that we hear a lot of times, oftentimes we hear that this dunya is like a journey, and we're always moving, we're constantly moving and moving, So we're not going to, this dunya is never just, we're not going to, just like a train stop. You're not going to spend your time with this train stop and start to invest, to start to invest in houses and stuff, because you're going to eventually move away from that train stop, So just like this dunya is like a journey. There's no point of investing in. Of course, you have to take care of yourself, but this doesn't mean that we take this dunya as our purpose of life, And also, Allah, I think it's a hadith or saying, "Dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir." This dunya is a prison for the believers and a paradise for the kafir. So just like this, over and over again, we get these examples and these what do you call them? Reminders that this dunya isn't for us. The dunya it's not it's only temporary. It's not permanent. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the Quran Kareem, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it begins by